Salvation comes from my one self. Its thoughts are mine to use. Salvation comes from my one self. Its thoughts are mine to use. Salvation comes from my one self. Its thoughts are mine to use. Salvation comes from my one self. Its thoughts are mine to use. Well, thank you all so much for joining me on this rainy day that I'm recording this for Lesson 96 for Sunday, April the 6th of 2025. And I'm going to put a towel over my guitar. The wind's kind of blowing. I'm going to take my hat. I think I'm going to put it on my camera to try to keep some of the rain off of it. It's, let's see, today is Thursday preceding that Sunday for Lesson 96. Where I'm Forgiveness Willie, teaching forgiveness through A Course in Miracles. We're reading from the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles this year. Salvation comes from my one self. Although you are one self, you experience yourself as two, as both good and evil, loving and hating, mind and body. This sense of being split into opposites induces feelings of acute and constant conflict and leads to frantic attempts to reconcile the contradictory aspects of this self-perception. You have sought many such solutions and none of them has worked. The opposites you see in you will never be compatible, but one exists. The fact that truth and illusions cannot be reconciled, no matter how you try, what means you use, and where you see the problem, must be accepted if you would be saved. Until you have accepted this, you will attempt an endless list of goals you cannot reach, a senseless series of expenditures of time and effort, hopefulness and doubt, each one as futile as the one before, and failing as the next one surely will. Problems that have no meaning cannot be resolved within the framework they are set. Two selves in conflict could not be resolved, and good and evil have no meeting place. The self you made can never be yourself, nor can yourself be split in two, and still be what it is and must forever be. A mind and body cannot both exist. Make no attempt to reconcile the two, mind and body. Make no attempt to reconcile the two, for one denies the other can be real. If you are physical, your mind is gone from your self-concept, for it has no place in which it could be really part of you. If you are spirit, then the body must be meaningless to you, to your reality. If you are spirit, then the body must be meaningless to your reality. Back in the very last couple sentences in paragraph 1, it said, the opposites you see in you will never be compatible, but one exists. The one that does exist is reality or truth. The mind, spirit, not the body. Spirit makes use of mind as means to find its self-expression, and the mind which serves the spirit is at peace and filled with joy. Its power comes from spirit, and it is fulfilling happily its function here. Yet mind can also see itself divorced from spirit, and perceive itself within a body it confuses with itself. Without its function, then, it has no peace, and happiness is alien to its thoughts. Yet mind apart from spirit cannot think. Mind apart from spirit cannot think. It has denied its source of strength and sees itself as helpless, limited, and weak. Dissociated from its function now, it thinks it is alone and separate, attacked by armies massed against itself and hiding in the body's frail support. Now must it reconcile unlike with like, for this is what it thinks that it is for. Waste no more time on this. Who can resolve the senseless conflicts which a dream presents? What can the resolution mean in truth? What purpose could it serve? What is it for? Salvation cannot make illusions real, nor solve a problem that does not exist. Perhaps you hope it can. Yet would you have God's plan for the release of His dear Son bring pain to Him and fail to set Him free? Yourself retains its thoughts, and they remain within your mind and in the mind of God. The Holy Spirit holds salvation in your mind and offers it the way to peace. Salvation is a thought you share with God because His voice accepted it for you and answered in your name that it was done. Thus is salvation kept among the thoughts yourself holds dear and cherishes for you. We will attempt today to find this thought, whose presence in your mind is guaranteed by Him who speaks to you from your one self. Our hourly 5-minute practicing will be a search for Him within your mind. Our hourly 5-minute practicing will be a search for reality or God or the Holy Spirit in your mind. Let's back up. Begin in paragraph 8. We will attempt today to find this thought. The thought yourself holds dear and cherishes for you, what the Holy Spirit holds for you. We will attempt today to find this thought, whose presence in your mind is guaranteed by Him who speaks to you from your one self. Our hourly 5-minute practicing will be a search for Him within your mind. Salvation comes from this one self, through Him who is the capitalized bridge between your mind and capitalized it. So the Holy Spirit is the bridge from our mind to the all-inclusive mind, the mind of God. Wait patiently and let Him speak to you about yourself and what your mind can do, restored to it and free to serve its will. So today in our 5-minute practicing every hour, if you can do it 5 minutes every hour, if not, at least bring the idea, salvation comes from my one self. Its thoughts are mine to use. We'll get to that. Let's go ahead and finish reading. Wait patiently and let Him speak to you about yourself and what your mind can do, restored to it and free to serve its will. Begin with saying this: salvation comes from my one self. Its thoughts are mine to use. Then seek its thoughts and claim them as your own. These are your own real thoughts you have denied, and let your mind go wandering in a world of dreams to find illusions in their place. Here are your thoughts, the only ones you have. Salvation is among them. Find it there. If you succeed, the thoughts that come to you will tell you you are saved and that your mind has found the function that it sought to lose. Yourself will welcome it and give it peace. Restored in strength, it will again flow out from Spirit to the Spirit in all things created by the Spirit as itself. Your mind will bless all things. Confusion done, you are restored, for you have found yourself. Let's find ourselves, our true self, our true thoughts, not the body. That's not our self. That's a learning device we're learning. Yourself knows that you cannot fail today. Perhaps your mind remains uncertain yet a little while. Be not dismayed by this. The joy yourself experiences, it will save for you, and it will yet be yours in full awareness. Every time you spend 5 minutes of the hour seeking Him who joins your mind and self, you offer Him another treasure to be kept for you. Each time today you tell your frantic mind salvation comes from your one self, you lay another treasure in your growing store, and all of it is given everyone who asks for it and will accept the gift. Think then how much is given unto you to give this day, that it be given you. Okay, salvation comes from my one self. So in those hourly remembrances, and hopefully take 5 minutes, not. Try to get a sense of the Holy Spirit's voice in you. It's not a different voice, it's your own will. It's your own wishes, it's your own desires, it's your own true passion. It's what's connected to God. And that's what we're going to step back and let all the thoughts of the, how do you say it, the idle mind, idolatry mind, the self-concepts that are not according to reality, that thinks that you're a body and that you can be attacked and that you're vulnerable. We're going to let all those settle down and be no more as we now wait for the light of God's love to shine in our minds, which it's always shining there. We just have been too busy thinking about other things to see it. Salvation comes from my one self. Its thoughts are mine to use. Okay, let's go take a look in our text reading. And we're in chapter 11, the last section of chapter 11, Roman numeral, which is, chapter 11 is God or the ego. But the last section, we're going to take 2 days to get through this section. It's about 4 pages long. And if for some reason you don't listen to me someday and you want to I try to do about 2 pages a day. So just let that be kind of a guide. If you do a couple pages or maybe a little more than that, but a couple pages a day, you'll get through Course in Miracles in a year. Do your lesson plus 2 pages in the text, the manual for teachers, and then I do the 2 supplements also, Psychotherapy, Purpose, Process, and Practice, and the Song of Prayer. Okay, the problem and the answer. This is a very simple course. Perhaps you do not feel you need a course which in the end teaches that only reality is true, or you might say, perhaps you do not feel you need a course which in the end teaches that only reality is real. Truth, reality. But do you believe it? When you perceive the real world, you will recognize that you did not believe it. Yet the swiftness with which your new and only real perception will be translated into knowledge will leave you but an instant to realize that this alone is true. And then everything you made will be forgotten, the good, the bad, the false, and the true. For as heaven and earth become one, even the real world will vanish from your sight. The end of the world is not its destruction, but its translation into heaven. The reinterpretation of the world is the transfer of all perception to knowledge. Paragraph 2. The Bible tells you to become as little children. And where does the Bible say that? Well, one such place is in Matthew chapter 18 and verse 3. The Bible tells you to become as little children. Little children recognize they do not understand what they perceive. And so they ask what it means. Okay, now that's kind of a little deeper understanding of why we're supposed to become as little children. Because they actually are living lesson 1. I do not know what anything means. And He wants us to ask God for that. The Holy Spirit, the bridge. The Bible tells you to become as little children. Little children recognize that they do not understand what they perceive, and so they ask what it means. Do not make the mistake of believing that you understand what you perceive, for its meaning is lost to you. Yet the Holy Spirit has saved its meaning for you. And if you will let Him interpret it, He will restore to you what you have thrown away. Yet while you think you know its meaning, you will see no need to ask it of Him. Paragraph 3. You do not know the meaning of anything you perceive. You do not know the meaning of anything you perceive. Not one thought you hold is wholly true. The recognition of this is your firm beginning. You are not misguided. You have accepted no guide at all. Instruction in perception is your great need, for you understand nothing. Recognize this, but do not accept it, for understanding is your inheritance. So, well, the old wind's blowing my hat, which thus blows my camera. We may have to take that off there if it keeps doing that. The recognition, okay, so you do not know the meaning of anything you perceive. Not one thought you hold is wholly true. The recognition of this is your firm beginning. You are not misguided. You have accepted no guide at all. Instruction. Let's see if I can tighten this just a little bit so that the wind doesn't blow that. I am sorry that that's happening, but that might help a little bit. I just wanted to point out something here. The recognition of this is your firm beginning. You are not misguided. You have accepted no guide at all. Instruction in perception is your great need, for you understand nothing. Recognize this, but do not accept it, for understanding is your inheritance. So the ego mind doesn't understand anything, and we need to recognize that before we can have our true self step on the scene that does understand. That's our inheritance. That's what it means when he says, instruction in perception is your great need, for you understand nothing. Recognize this, but do not accept it, for understanding is your inheritance. Perceptions are learned, and you are not without a teacher. Yet your willingness to learn of Him depends on your willingness to question everything you learned of yourself. For you who learned amiss should not be your own teacher. Reminds me of Jesus when He said, if the blind lead the blind, they'll both fall into a ditch. Paragraph 4. No one can withhold truth except from himself. Yet God will not refuse you the answer He gave. Ask then for what is yours, but which you did not make, and do not defend yourself against truth. You made the problem, God has answered. Ask yourself, therefore, but one simple question. Do I want the problem, or do I want the answer? Do I want the problem, or do I want the answer? Decide for the answer, and you will have it, for you will see it as it is, and it is yours already. Paragraph 5. You may complain that this course is not sufficiently specific for you to understand and use. Yet perhaps you have not done what it specifically advocates. Have you really been doing your lessons as they say to do them? As He says to do them? Have you been taking 5 minutes as much as reasonable? It's got to be practical, you know. There may be 5-minute periods of time you can't take during the day, particularly if you're someone who holds a job working for somebody else. But you can at least, without stopping anything, say to yourself the lesson for the day, which is I say stopped anything, I want to make sure I say it right. Salvation comes from my one self. Its thoughts are mine to use. Paragraph 5, you may complain that this course is not sufficiently specific for you to understand and use. Yet perhaps you have not done what it specifically advocates. This is not a course in play of ideas, but in their practical application. Nothing could be more specific than to be told that if you ask, you will receive. The Holy Spirit will answer every specific problem as long as you believe that problems are specific. His answer is both many and one, as long as you believe that the one is many. You may be afraid of His specificity for fear of what you think it will demand of you. Yet only by asking will you learn that nothing of God demands anything of you. God gives, He does not take. Isn't that nice to know that God doesn't demand anything of us? He gives, He never takes. When you refuse to ask, it is because you believe that asking is taking rather than sharing. That upside down perspective that just bites us in the hiney. Paragraph 6. The Holy Spirit will give you only what is yours and will take nothing in return. For what is yours is everything, and you share it with God. That is its reality. Would the Holy Spirit, who wills only to restore, be capable of misinterpreting the question you must ask to learn His answer? You have heard the answer, but you have misunderstood the question. You believe that to ask for guidance of the Holy Spirit is to ask for deprivation. Paragraph 7. Little child of God, little child of God, isn't that sweet? He calls us little child of God. You do not understand your Father. You believe in a world that takes because you believe that you can get by taking. And by that perception, you have lost sight of the real world. You are afraid of the world as you see it, but the real world is still yours for the asking. Do not deny it to yourself, for it can only free you. Nothing of God will enslave His Son, whom He created free, and whose freedom is protected by His being. Blessed are you who are willing to ask the truth of God without fear, for only thus can you learn that His answer is the release from fear. And I think we'll stop at the end of paragraph 8, this next paragraph. Beautiful child of God. That's also very dear. He sees us as beautiful children of God. Beautiful child of God, you're asking only for what I promised you. Do you believe I would deceive you? The kingdom of heaven is within you. And of course, that's a quote that was recorded in the Bible that Jesus was recorded as saying in Luke chapter 17, verse 21. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Believe that the truth is in me, for I know that it is in you. God's sons have nothing they do not share. Ask for truth of any son of God, and you have asked it of me. Not one of us but has the answer in Him to give to anyone who asks it of Him. Okay, let's see. What's going on around the world today? And I'm sure to keep in mind all day today what? Salvation comes from my one self. Its thoughts are mine to use. Okay, and we'll include that little phrase, do I want the problem or do I want the answer, in our closing song here in a moment. Let's see, Lent continues. It's actually in Lent, it's actually called Passion Sunday, which is the 5th Sunday of Lent. So Passion Sunday for you Christian folks that practice Lent. Rama Navami was yesterday, but I found a place that said it was today. It may be a 2-day celebration, or maybe it started at sundown last night. I'm not exactly sure. But anyway, Rama Navami, when Lord Rama was born. California Poppy Day. And I was going to look that up, but we don't really have time to check into it much. So anyway, just know it's California Poppy Day. Drowsy Driver Awareness Day. I've had some situations where I was a little too tired to be driving and never have had any wrecks, but my son did one time. Coming home from a date when he was a young man. Fell asleep. He did okay, but his truck didn't make it. That was justice. Fresh Tomato Day. Fresh Tomato Day. Let's talk about fresh tomatoes. I've got a little beefsteak tomato growing. Let me get it right here. I've got it. I had some seeds that weren't doing real well, or that were old, and so I planted several. They were all in a flat. When I pulled it out, they kind of leaned over. But you'll notice there's several tomato seeds there that came up, and I've just let them all go. Now what I'll either do is I'll either pinch off all but one, maybe two, or you can soak that in water and tease the roots apart and then plant each one individually. When you plant them in the dirt, I usually plant them up to about where my thumbnail's at, and that'll all root. Pull the leaves off down at the bottom. And so anyway, that's a beefsteak, which we'll talk about in a minute. Let's see what else is going on around the world. It's Geologist Day, Good Deed Day, which ought to be every day, International Asexuality Day, International Day of Sport for Development of Peace. Sport for the development of peace. I like to give trees away for world peace. Jump Over Things Day, Siamese Cat Day, Student Athlete Day, and Tartan Day. I'm not sure what Tartan Day is. I just didn't look up those things as like I usually like to do. I just didn't do it. Okay, and I said I wanted to talk a little bit about beefsteak. Out of the Gurney Seed Catalog, it says of the beefsteak, this old-fashioned favorite is heavy yielding and bears big, meaty 2-pound fruits with a rich, full flavor. This low-acid heirloom variety is ideal for slicing. Indeterminate, disease-resistant, approximately 75 seeds per packet. And FV, what does that FV stand for? It's a virus that they're immune to. I forget the term. What it is. Okay, well, let's close with our song. Thank you all so much for joining me today on this rainy day. Salvation comes from my one self. Salvation comes from my one self. Its thoughts are mine to use. Can't you blow away? Salvation comes from my one self. Its thoughts are mine to use. Ask yourself but one simple question. Do I want the problem, or do I want the answer? That'd be a good one to do today. Ask yourself but one simple question. Do I want the problem, or do I want the answer? Let's want the answer. Salvation comes from my one self. His thoughts are mine to use. Salvation comes from my one self. His thoughts are mine to use. I said his, it's its. Salvation comes from my one self. Its thoughts are mine to use. Salvation comes from my one self. Its thoughts are mine to use. Salvation comes from my one self. Its thoughts are mine to use. And our word for peace is from the Rift Valley of Africa, Rwanda. And it's the Kinyarwanda people. And it's Amahoro. 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 Amahoro be with you. Peace be with you. They're in that mountainous area's western edge of the Rift Valley. Amahoro. Salvation comes from my one self. Its thoughts are mine to use. Amahoro.